he's definitely not chained in the basement. He said,
Miss Frankie, can you hear me?
Yes.
He says what's happened to him is his fault.
She's just going to need to be hungry. Hopefully nobody gives her food.
In Jodi Hildebrandt's bathroom, I located gauze which had been used.
You cannot just get into the cupboard and take yogurt and crackers. Are you hungry?
Yeah.
Are you growing, boy? Is that why you keep getting into the kitchen? Look at me. Lunch is in 1 hour. I think you're cute when you're sad. And it's been so difficult.
Imagine listening to these podcasts and then you realize people that you're listening to have just been charged with 6 felonies. Now, these women are coaching you. They're telling you about how to live your life, how to navigate your relationships amongst your family, your children, but they were charged with aggravated child abuse. Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt both have a podcast together called Connections. This is also their business as well. Now, y'all may know Jodi Hildebrandt from 8 Passengers. This is a YouTube channel that has, at the time, over 2.5 million subscribers. Basically one of those family vlogging YouTube channels where they have 6 children. There's a mom, husband, Kevin Franke, and they vlog almost everything. I'm not a fan of these family YouTube vlogs, but I can see what the appeal is and why people tend to gravitate on them. There's some viewers there that want guidance, on having a family, maybe raising kids as well. And then there's also some viewers that didn't really come from a great family dynamic. Maybe they're looking to have the family they never had before, the mother figure, the father figure. It's possible that had I been younger and I stumbled upon a family YouTube channel when I was in my teens, I might have even gravitated towards it as well. For example, I want to read this one comment. I'll blur the person out. They write, "This video was one of my most favorite one in a long time. I wish I had that kind of relationship with my parents. I do envy you guys. Whenever I feel lost and don't know how to overcome that, I watch some of your videos. That puts me in a better mood. And almost instantly, especially how much you changed over the last couple of videos. Ruby, that's really impressive. I adore you guys." So I get it. I understand the appeal. But in my opinion, I just do not like these family YouTube channels. I've only heard of Ruby Franke during the controversy about her refusing to bring her kindergarten daughter lunch because her daughter forgot to bring it. It was supposed to be some sort of lesson learned that her daughter was supposed to be able to pack her own lunch, bring it, and if the daughter forgot, then, she's just going to have to starve for the rest of the day until she gets home.
I know that her teacher is uncomfortable with her being hungry and not having a lunch, and it would ease her discomfort if I came to the school with a lunch. I responded and just said, Eve is responsible for making her lunches in the morning, and she actually told me she did pack a lunch. So the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry. And hopefully nobody gives her food.
For many of us, that sounds really extreme, but that's not what prompted these alleged child abuse. It's what happened recently with her child, a 12-year-old boy, escaping. On August 30th, her 12-year-old son left Jodi Hildebrandt's house, showed up at another neighbor's house, and when he knocked on the neighbor's house, neighbor said that he looked emaciated. He had duct tape around his wrists, I think around the ankles as well. And this alerted him. He called 911, but the boy essentially knocked on his door because he was really hungry. He was really thirsty. So we're going to listen to portions of the 911 call. I also want to listen to portions of the police scanner as well. We're going to talk about the arrest affidavit, the court appearance that happened last Friday. We did try to stream it, but they were having some issues because too many people joined in. It crashed. There were some trolls on there as well. But Court TV finally uploaded it. I also want to talk about the responses of family members. Where's the dad? And other things like that. But let's start with the 911 call.
I just had a 12-year-old boy show up here at my front door asking for help. He's emaciated. He's got tape around his legs. He's hungry and he's thirsty.
Okay. At some point during the conversation that this neighbor has with the young boy, he realizes that the young boy came from Jodi Hildebrandt's house.
Her name is Jodi Hildebrandt, and she lives 2 doors up the street. His ankles are taped up, and he won't tell us why.
And being 12 years old, he probably knows that having duct tape wrapped around your ankle, your wrist, is probably not a good thing. But he doesn't want to rat out Jodi or his mom, Ruby.
Or correction, the RP is becoming emotional regarding the child's health. I'm going to go ahead and have medical stage on this one.
Okay. But he has duct taped around each ankle. Yeah, there's sores around them. I think there's a good chance he's been...
He also said...
Oh, and he has been around his ankles. I mean, his wrists as well. Okay, this boy has been... kid has obviously been, I think he's been detained. He's obviously covered in wounds. What's your mom's name? Ruby Frankie?
I don't have any Rose Frankies coming back in Stillman or in Utah. I did find a Ruby Frankie, which I sent to 12X11, showing an address out of Springville. However, only involvement is a traffic offense a couple days ago.
Control 12X11, 314 as well. The child looks very emaciated.
At this point, he's asking about his siblings. I do believe that there were 2 other kids that were at the household as well.
Are they being held? Do they have wounds on them as well?
Nothing bad going on with us.
Okay.
It's just the...
Okay. So they're able to walk around the house and everything. He says what's happened to him is his fault. You did good. Enjoy that banana, okay?
The neighbor starts realizing that Jodi Hildebrandt is actually at her house. So she might come looking for him anytime soon. He's wondering where the cops are.
Jodi Hildebrandt is up there right now. So she may come looking for him here soon, but she's not going to, obviously. I think we need the cops here as soon as possible. She's a bad lady. We didn't realize how bad.
Now, I know there has been some attention on Ruby Frankie and how she treats her kids, but I wonder what was in the circulation in the neighborhood where this neighbor actually thought that Jodi Hildebrandt was also a bad actor as well, because he did mention earlier in the 911 call that there's been some problems at this neighbor's house. Child and Family Services have been called on Ruby Frankie before, but I believe that was at Ruby Frankie's residence, not at Jodi Hildebrandt's house. So I wonder, what is Jodi Hildebrandt's reputation in this community? The police that responded was the Santa Clara Police Department, and Santa Clara is all the way down here in Utah. However, Ruby Frankie's family are reported to live in Springville. So it says about like 3.5-hour drives. I'm not sure if this is correct or not though, but I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how close was Ruby Frankie's house to how close Jodi Hildebrandt's house was.
27 I sent you for Ruby Frankie is going to be the one that is associated with the Jodi Hildebrandt. They're both showing as therapists from Salt Lake and associated through social media as well. 12X11, I think I may have found Dad, also a Kevin Frankie address out of Springville.
This is the arrest affidavit that we have. So we have 6 felony charges for aggravated child abuse, intentionally or knowingly, 2nd-degree felony. We have Ruby Frankie that's on here. Now, definition of aggravated child abuse: a 2nd-degree felony in that the defendant intentionally or knowingly inflicted upon a child serious physical injury, or having the care or custody of such child, caused or permitted another to inflict serious physical injury upon said child. And such serious physical injury includes physical torture. So again, the neighbor and even in the police scanner said that the child was emaciated. And when you hear emaciated, it usually means that they've been starved for a while. I looked up the actual definition of emaciated. It says if you lost about like 20% of your body weight. But they also mentioned that the child also had duct tape around the wrist, around the ankle as well, and there were like sores and wounds there. For the count 2 of the aggravated child abuse, it's similar to the first one, except in this one, it says to inflict serious physical injury upon said child, and such serious physical injuries include any conduct that results in starvation or failure to survive or malnutrition that jeopardizes the child's life. For the counts 3, we have to inflict serious physical injury upon said child, and such serious physical injury includes a conduct towards a child that results in severe emotional harm, severe developmental delay, or intellectual disability, or severe impairment of the child's ability to function. For count 4, this one is talking about the starvation. Count 5, the mental, intellectual development and disability. And in count 6, this one says to inflict serious physical injury upon said child, and so serious physical injury includes any of the combination of 2 or more physical injuries inflicted by the same person, either at the same time or on different occasions. Now we have the probable cause statement that was signed by the arresting officer, and I'm going to read it here. 1, child abuse. Redacted climbed out of the window of an Ivins resident belonging to Jodi Hildebrandt and ran to neighbor's home. Redacted knocked on the door requesting food and water. The neighbor observed duct tape on Redacted's ankle and wrist and contacted law enforcement. Upon arrival, law enforcement observed the wounds and the malnourishment of Redacted to be severe, and Redacted was transported to the Redacted hospital. Redacted was placed in a medical hold due to a Redacted deep lacerations from being tied up with rope and from Redacted malnourishment. Ruby Frank was seen on a YouTube video filmed in Jodi Hildebrandt's downstairs, which was posted 2 days ago. Now, even though it was posted 2 days ago, we don't actually know when it was filmed. I haven't actually seen this video yet. This observation adds to Miss Frankie, the mother of RF, being present in the home and having knowledge in the abuse, malnourishment, and neglect. Miss Frankie requested a lawyer and did not speak with us, so we're not going to get an interrogation video. With this information, the belief that Miss Frankie had knowledge of malnourishment, abuse, neglect, this charge will be enhanced to a second-degree felony, so they upgraded it. I asked that Miss Frankie not be allowed bail due to the severity of the injuries of her 2 children located in the home and the fact that DCFS has taken 4 of Miss Frankie's children into custody. I've yet to speak with 2 of them. Now, the oldest daughter, Sherry, I believe that she's in college right now. The second oldest would be Chad. I saw that it was reported that he may have been with his father, Kevin, but that's like unconfirmed, so I'm not really sure with that one. Number 2, victim Redacted was found at Jodi Hildebrandt's residence after Redacted made contact with the police. So this is going to be another sibling, I believe. Redacted was found to be malnourished and initially refused medical. After approximately 4 hours, Redacted agreed Jodi Hildebrandt was found to be in direct care of Redacted. Redacted was determined to be malnourished by a medical professional upon arriving at the Redacted hospital. Ruby Frankie was seen on a YouTube video filmed in Jodi Hildebrandt's downstairs, which was posted 2 days ago. This observation adds to Miss Frankie, the mother of Redacted, being present in the home and having knowledge of the abuse, malnourishment, and neglect. With this information, the belief that Miss Frankie had knowledge of malnourishment, abuse, and neglect, this charge would be enhanced to a second-degree felony. I asked Miss Frankie not be allowed bail due to the severity of the injuries and the fact that DCFS has taken 4 of Miss Frankie's children into their custody, and I've yet to speak with 2 of them. So we have a public safety assessment report for Ruby Frankie. Now, it says here that she had a prior misdemeanor conviction. I'm not really quite sure what that is for. Here are the charges for Jodi Nan Hildebrandt, which is going to be the same as Ruby's. Number 1, child abuse. Jodi Hildebrandt was found to be in direct care of Redacted as Redacted was staying at her home. In Jodi Hildebrandt's bathroom, I located gauze which had been used. This observation adds to Ms. Hildebrandt's knowledge of the abuse in the home. Ms. Hildebrandt requested a lawyer, did not speak with us. So again, no interrogation. Once giving her the charges, Ms. Hildebrandt informed me Redacted and Redacted should never be around any other kids. With this information and the belief that Ms. Hildebrandt had knowledge of malnourishment, abuse, and neglect, this charge would be enhanced to a second-degree felony. Wait, so Hildebrandt told the officer that the 2 children that were, well, one was tied up for sure, but they both had been starved, that they shouldn't be around any other kids. What are they? Okay. I asked that Ms. Hildebrandt not be allowed bail due to the severity of the injuries and the fact that DCFS has taken 4 of Ms. Frankie's children to the custody, and I've yet to speak with 2 of them. Number 2, child abuse. Redacted was found at Jodi Hildebrandt's residence after Redacted made contact with the police. Redacted was found to be malnourished, initially refused medical. After approximately 4 hours, let's see, this is going to be the same. Now, it's kind of interesting that they bring up how, well, at least Jodi Hildebrandt brought up how the kids shouldn't be around any other kids. I don't know if that has anything to do with what the Daily Mail reported. Now, I haven't really talked about that because, I don't see Law and Crime. I don't see Court TV talking about it. I'm going to wait for them because other than that, we just don't know. It could just be speculation or just be, I don't know, maybe bad news reporting or something like that. But we'll wait until we get more information. Ruby Frankie and Jodi Hildebrandt had their first court appearance on September 8th, on Friday. The live stream kind of crashed, didn't really happen, but Court TV now has the footage, so let's react to it together. Both women were held with no bond at the time, but let's see what happened in their initial court appearance.
Afternoon, Mr. Winward. How are you?
Very good.
Good. So you represent Miss Frankie?
I do. He is on the video with us.
Miss Frankie, can you hear me?
Yes.
Have you received a copy of the information in this case?
Yes.
I can inform the court that Ms. Frankie and I have both reviewed verbatim the information. She understands it, that she has pertinent questions. We would waive the reading of that at this time. And we're ready to move forward with it. I would make one motion. I understand.
So the audio is a little bit janky here, but they're essentially going to waive all the reading of the charges of the 6 counts of aggravated child abuse.
Understand that the co-defendant is assigned to Judge Walton. My case is assigned to Judge Barnes. I would make an oral motion today to transfer this case to Judge Walton so that co-defendants track each other.
Okay. What's the
Okay, so I guess that makes sense. Right now, Ruby Frankie and Jodi Hildebrandt are assigned to different judges. I think they want to have the same judge.
state's position on that motion?
Your Honor, we have a motion that we filed shortly after filing the information in this case. We'll withdraw that motion. It was just vice versa. So
Okay.
we'll withdraw that motion and stipulate to Mr. Windward's motion.
So do I have a stipulation of the council to transfer Ms. Frankie's case to Judge Walton?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. That motion is granted. Ms. Frankie's being held on a no bail hold at this point. She's going to remain on a no bail hold for the time being. What would you like me to do with the case, Mr. Windward, at this point?
Your Honor, we anticipate filing a motion in Judge Walton's court for the bail hearing forthwith. The court wants to conclude the initial appearance. We're fine with that.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is set this on Judge Walton's law and motion calendar a week from this coming Thursday. What date is that?
Yes, 10.
September 21st at 9:10 in the morning
September 21st. So I guess that's when the bail hearing will happen.
will be the next hearing for Ms. Frankie. Anything else we need to handle in that matter today?
Maybe with a
Just let
different
the
judge.
court
than him.
know, and I've let counsel know, I will be out of the country on that date, and so I will work with Judge Walton's court and counsel to modify that as necessary.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So maybe it won't happen on the day. Either the lawyer representing Jodi or the lawyer representing Ruby probably got some vacation planned or something, so it may not happen on that date.
Thank you, Mr. Windward. Anything else from the state? Okay, thank you very much.
All right, and that's it for the initial court appearance. I don't think...
I'll be talking to you a little bit later.
At this point, Ruby Frankie and Kevin Frankie's children are ages 20, 18, 16, 14, 12, and 9. Their oldest daughter, Sherry Frankie, did a Instagram post where it had the picture of, I think it was like when the arrest had happened, and it just said, finally. She also shared another story that says, "Hi all. Today has been a big day. Me and my family are so glad justice is being served. We've been trying to tell the police and CPS for years about this. So glad they finally decided to step up. Kids are safe, but there's a long road ahead. Please keep them in your prayers and also respect their privacy." Now, there has been several calls to the Frankie home. Neighbors and an older sibling called authorities, so older sibling, I believe that's to be Sherry Frankie, to Ruby Frankie's Springville home to try to get help for several children in 2022, according to police records obtained by KSL. The records show police responded to the home more than a dozen of times during the last 4.5 years. Several of those visits were related to concerns about the children's well-being. Springville police visited Frankie's home 15 times between March 2019 and August 31st. During at least 5 of those visits, police were assisting the Division of Child and Family Services. In April 2022, a Springville police report revealed the Division of Child and Family Services had been alerted that 2 children were running around in the road unsupervised, and that the caseworker requested police drive through the area. The officer wrote that they responded but did not see any kids in the street. Months later, on September 18, 2022, police responded to Frankie home again. This time, the request is Frankie's oldest adult daughter. According to the report, neighbors informed her that her younger sibling has been left home alone for days while Ruby Frankie was in St. George with her friend. Officers responded they saw the children in the home, but children would not answer the door. Officers seen the children on the phone and go upstairs when they were out of sight. I wonder when the officers reported at the scene if the children were like, "Oh shit, what do we do? Let's just call mom. Let's see what mom says." And mom probably said, "Oh, don't open the door." That's what I'm guessing here. When police approached the neighbors who gathered outside, they immediately start telling us about how the mother of the residents, Ruby Frankie, will leave her children home for extended periods of time and go to St. George to spend time with her friend Jodi Hildebrandt. Everyone who came to the scene was very concerned about the children of them and them being left at home alone. Police documented neighbors' name and contact information, noting several were willing to provide information and evidence to DCFS. Central Intake was contacted and reports started. The officer wrote, Springview Police confirmed that means the information was provided to DCFS. Police calls records for the address shows officers showed up days later on September 22nd and then visit the home 3 more times on December 23rd, 26th, and October 3rd to assist the Division of Child and Family Services. In response to a question from the investigators, KSO investigators, DCFS spokeswoman Miranda Fisher released a statement Wednesday saying in part, due to confidentiality and privacy of the children and families we work with, DCFS cannot share information on the case, either past or present, or confirm involvement with the child or family. Neighbors told KSO investigators that Frankie children were regularly seen around Springville neighborhood playing with other kids, walking to church until a few months ago. Many said they lost touch with the children around April. They said that's when Ruby Frankie and her younger children stopped showing up to church, and they didn't see very much of the kids outside the home. So even though police were called several times, I believe like some of the other calls were actually made by Ruby Frankie. I forgot where I read that. Ruby Frankie called saying that she was getting harassed or something like that, maybe from her viewers or something. Now, if you guys are wondering, where is the dad in all of this? Where is Kevin Frankie? There was an article that did find where the neighbors said that apparently Kevin Frankie was maybe kicked out of the house maybe a couple months back, maybe like half a year ago. So, however, there is a statement that Kevin Frankie and his lawyers made. This is an article dated September 6th. The attorney for Kevin Frankie, husband of YouTube vlogger Ruby Frankie, has publicly stated his client was not present or aware of the alleged child abuse Ruby has been charged with. Randy Castor made an appearance on News Nation on Wednesday, September 6th. He stated that his client was not aware or present in the St. George home where the alleged abuse took place. He pointed out the children were in the custody of their mother for the summer and that she had taken them out of Utah County without Kevin Frankie's knowledge. Castor said he was unable to comment on the behavior of Ruby Frankie in any ill manner because the parties involved were trying to keep the kids out of social media and do what we can to get these kids back to good life. You know, I just wonder if they were keeping the kids out of social media because there was all these allegations of child abuse. And when people were starting to put them in the spotlight and they decided to dial it down on their YouTube channel and eventually disable it, I just wonder if that was the only communication that the children had with the outside world. And, you know, that's why they probably took away the kids' social media access. When pressed for comment on Kevin's time in the home and during the making of 8 Passengers vlog, Castor said that he would make no comment on the accusations leveled against the couple while they were still together. The lawyer also made an appearance on, was it Good Morning America, where he says that his client, Kevin Frankie, is a good person. He is very gentle, Castor said, and no one's ever made any allegations that he's ever physically abused those kids or anyone else. I guess a lot of us would just have a hard time understanding that the dad didn't have any contact with his kids over summer, or maybe it was just only phone calls. Maybe he wasn't able to physically see how emaciated some of his kids were, maybe some of the wounds. But I do want to talk about the history of Ruby Frankie and Kevin Frankie as well as their 8 Passengers YouTube channel. The YouTube channel was created in 2015. This is when I guess a lot of family YouTube channels were booming, so they thought they might give it a try. They have 6 children at the time, 2 adults. I want to talk about some of the controversies as well as the responses that Ruby Frankie and Kevin Frankie has made in the past. We're going to rewind it back to June of 2020. At this time, they had about 2.5 million subscribers on the 8 Passengers YouTube channel. The kids are 17, 15, 13, 11, 8, and 6 at this time. Ruby Frankie uploaded a video called What We Haven't Told You. Long Crime uploaded some portions of this, but essentially it's revealed that her 15-year-old son had been sleeping on a beanbag chair for about 7 months. He didn't have a bed to sleep on. He didn't even have a bedroom. Now, this is the punishment for waking up his brother in the middle of the night and telling his brother that he's going to go to Disneyland. Apparently, the brother, got all dressed up, ready to go, had the suitcase ready, out the door, and then essentially cried when he found out that he wasn't going to go to Disneyland. He also said that maybe it was because he pointed a BB gun in his brother's face. So these are pretty bad pranks. In my opinion, they're pretty mean. However, the crime just doesn't fit the punishment. 7 months is a very, very long time.
I've been sleeping on a beanbag since October, and they gave my room back like 2 weeks ago. Oh, I'll give you the reason why I lost my bedroom. I think so. I think this is the reason. At least this is the reason that's been in my head.
I find it really odd that he's been punished for about, 7 months now, sleeping on a beanbag chair, and it doesn't even really seem clear to him why he's being punished. That's why he's saying, I think this is the reason, at least in my head.
Pretty funny, but now that I look back, it's pretty depressing.
No, we never told our viewers. Todd didn't get any room. He didn't get anything. He was sleeping on the floor in the family room, and he just got the bedroom back, and it's because he's shown up consistently without bullying the kids.
How weird must it be to have your abusive mom just flaunting her abuse on social media, on YouTube, for millions of views? Oh my God, I feel so bad for her kids.
Chad hasn't had a flip phone, a smartphone, any kind of phone, and it's been over a year. And I still have no intention
He just sounds so over it and just kind of like, I don't know, tired at this point.
of returning a phone. Abby, we took the phone away from Abby in November.
I don't know, man. Her kids just look so defeated. And like her tone, Abby, well, we took her phone away in November.
And you may never get the phone back.
Probably not.
When you make these choices with your family to take things away, as a parent, you really do want them to have these things. And it's been so.
Oh my God, this is so cringe. This is her just trying to, she's just doing this for herself. This is all like self-serving. She's only saying this because, probably because this is what she thinks the viewers want to hear. The viewers are like, oh my God, it's so hard for the kids, but look at mom. It's also so hard for the mom as well. She's also suffering. Like, oh my God, this is just so cringe. Like, she's so gross.
As a parent, you really do want them to have these things. And it's been so difficult to take a phone away, to take a bedroom away, to take iPads away, to take access.
I don't think it's difficult for her. I honestly don't. I think she has some really weird power dynamics going on with her children. Maybe she likes a sense of authority and exerting her power over them. This is just so sad.
The way, like, it hurts me just as much as it hurts my kids.
Like, I don't know. If you look at her kids in this video, they're kind of just like, okay, mom. All right, go ahead. Yes, queen, go ahead.
And now I have no friends.
You can play with friends.
No, like, I don't have friends.
I don't have friends either.
I literally, like, told my friends I'm not hanging out with them anymore.
That's so sad. And it's crazy that when he says that he has no friends, instead of her being like, oh my God, like, why don't you have any friends? Like, what's going on? She, like, the instinct response from her was to protect herself and say, well, you can play with them. She's just trying to make it seem like to her YouTube viewers that like, oh, it's not my fault they don't have friends. You know, you can play with them because I'm not the one who's holding you back. But no, it's on a deeper level. These kids are saying like, oh, I don't have any friends. Like, you know, I'm not hanging out with them anymore.
Because they're
They say some pretty messed up stuff. I like told my friends I'm not hanging out with them anymore.
Because they're
They say some pretty messed up stuff.
I've noticed that you've been hiding from me. And you are feeling a lot of embarrassment and shame. I don't know. You tell me what you're feeling.
See, this is why I don't like family YouTube channels. I mean, I'm sure not all of them are like this, but I feel like most of them probably are. But putting your kid on the spotlight like this, shoving a camera, like when you guys are watching it as viewers, maybe it doesn't look so awkward because you don't see the person holding the camera. But like when you're actually there in person, it is pretty awkward to be holding the camera and having that camera away from your face to their face, your face to their face, you know, in a communication back and forth. Like it's so awkward, and just being put on the spot like this. And he looks really young. He looks like a very young boy. This is just so uncomfortable. But she's just doing this for the views. I don't know. This is just so sickening. I hate family YouTube channels.
Mad?
Because I really won't get anything this summer. I won't be able to go anywhere. You know, I don't have any friends.
The video ends as Frankie kisses her son, who's visibly...
I mean, obviously, this is all taking in clips. I don't know how you would even... I don't know. Even though it's like, it could be clipped out of context, I just don't see how... This is just so sad. And the fact that she was okay with posting this on YouTube... I mean, maybe she's like, oh, hey, I'm going to be one of those moms who are like real and raw. I'm going to share everything and like no backlash. Like maybe she was at the top of her A game and she thought there was nothing going to bring her down. Now, I believe this video was the major impetus for a bunch of content creators to pile on them and say that, hey, they look like they are abusing their kids. Like some of the punishments that's being, you know, put on these kids, they seem pretty harsh. Like what is going on here? I want to go through the responses that Ruby and especially her husband, Kevin Frankie, has made. Now, her husband has said that he has no involvement with all the, you know, current allegations, but people are pointing fingers at him too because of all the involvement that he had when the family YouTube channel was up and running a couple years ago. This is Kevin's response to Insider.com. Kevin told Insider it was a moment of vulnerability and part of Chad's story of redemption that showed his victory over the challenges that he's faced over the last several years. Apparently, Chad was like acting out or something. He got suspended from school, and then they sent him to this behavioral therapy camp thing. Anyway, so Kevin's response. These people who've been following us the whole time, they would have perceived it as such. The problem is when individuals who aren't familiar with the narrative don't get the entire story. They fill in the unknown with their own narrative. And that's really where this blew up. I mean, it was all said in there. It was, child was punished for 7 months, slept on a beanbag, slept on the floor. He'd even have a room. And then it pans over to the rest of the kids where it's like, oh, we took their electronics away for the year already. Oh, we took her electronic away and she'll probably never get it back. And then we have the kids saying they're like, oh, they're all lonely. They don't have friends. It just seems really sad. And I don't know. The whole thing is just really sad. I also want to mention that Ruby's response was, what people don't understanding is that we give our children choice in everything. We're teaching our children to be self-governing. So it always has to be very open with our son that he gets to choose how long he's separate from his brother, dependent upon his behavior. So is she saying that he was acting up for the entire 7 months and that's why he never got his bed back, his room back? Now, I want to talk about this quote that the article had. Marian Baker, psychologist, Baker said that punishing a child by taking away their bed would be incredibly upsetting, as illustrated by Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We all seek a sense of safety and security in our environment, and taking away a bed strips this out entirely and actually leaves the child in trauma. I just feel like this is an extreme form of asserting your power, your authority over a kid, and just taking away their basic need, like, not really having a comfortable place to sleep and a safe place in your bedroom. Kevin was quoted in an article saying that Chad was in a wonderful place right now with a good group of friends and a healthy outlook on life where he holds high standards and has high boundaries. He's definitely not chained in the basement, he said. Now, isn't that kind of ironic, seeing that we found one of their children bound with duct tape on their wrists and their ankle as well? It's just crazy to me that a family would engage in something like this, taking away a bed, taking away the basic necessity of even like eating or having friends, being social with other people. I don't know. This whole thing is just really wild. This is a response that Kevin also had to say about the electronics. The same logic goes for when the kids use their phones or tablets irresponsibly and have them taken away, he said. Some viewers took issue with the children not having access to their phones and accused the parents of isolating them from their friends. Both Ruby and Kevin see it as a way to ensure they learn to be responsible and not to be dependent on screens. Having that need for electronics is an introduction into disconnect, Ruby said, and that is why the people are so uncomfortable with me showing a connected family. It rubs them against their shame and they project what they're seeing onto me. Oh my goodness. Dude, if I was a content creator covering this channel 2-3 years ago, oh my goodness. So content creators were sent cease and desist letters because they were talking about the 8 passengers family, talking about Ruby, talking about Kevin. There's this article that I found that said that during this time of June of 2020, Ruby was posting a minimum of 6 vlogs a week. A minimum of 6 vlogs a week. That is a lot of content to be churning out. And that's a minimum. We don't even know how much they're doing on a max. Oh my goodness. To put your kids in that much spotlight with the camera shoved in their face, that's just wild to me. I do want to bring up about, so this is what prompted a bunch of people online to sign a change.org petition. This was a petition here with almost under 18,000 signatures. A week after this was brought up, they did have Child Protection Services show up at the Frankie's door. And this is what they said. Division of Child and Family Service in Utah, where the Frankies live, showed up to their house about a week ago after one viewer set up the change.org petition. The workers visited with each of the children individually over 2 hours. They were there, Kevin said. When they walked in unannounced, even Ruby were baking bread together and doing a puzzle, Kevin said. Hardly the evidence of an abusive home. A letter from DCFS seen by insiders of the case, which alleged that Ruby was a perpetrator, was closed because the claims were unsupported. Kevin said the workers said that they were embarrassed they had to visit at all and apologized for the stress inflicted upon the family. I also learned that Ruby's sisters, I think she has about like 3 other sisters, and they all have families. They all have, a good amount of kids, and they also all have family YouTube channels. But I'm not really going to get into their channels or anything right now. One of the sisters, I think 2 of the sisters may have made like a joint response about this whole thing. essentially, saying that they tried to get the kids help. They knew what was happening behind closed doors. They didn't want to say anything in public, because out of the sake of the children. But we'll see what happens with that. But anyways, that's all I really have for now. This is still an ongoing thing. There is going to be another court appearance. I'm not quite sure if it's going to be scheduled on the date because remember, one of the lawyers is going to be out on vacation or something like that. But this is the 8 passengers family. I just wanted to cover Ruby Franke, Jodi Hildebrandt, and yeah, I don't know. This whole thing is it's just really sad. I hope the kids go to another home that's gonna be, I don't know, just live a normal life, please. I don't know, this is just so sad. I hope they're gonna be able to find some family members or someone that can take them in, and the kids can, I don't know, man, this is a lot of therapy. This is gonna be a lot of work that you're gonna have to do with the kids. It's not just gonna be okay, well, let's just take the kids in and they'll be fine. I don't know, this is a lot of trauma that they have to deal with. Yeah, I don't know, I really do wish them the best.